it or not, Mutotwe is winning. What is it? What is it? We don't want. Oh, leave us. Mutotwe, we love
you. That was the mood of 1.8 million people in the country over the past few weeks. As you know, the elections just ended. You're welcome to the Monday show. It has been a while. Good to see you all. And today we're getting straight into it. We just concluded the election period. We're back. And as you may be aware, we have a president-elect. Congratulations to the president-elect, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, on successfully scooping the presidency once again, securing a second term, just like that.
Just like that.
Just like that. I can tell you it was quite tense in the country. It was very tense. I did not expect that would have as many people supporting the other camp. I must give credit where it's due. They did their best to put up a fight, to put up an opposition. The NRPUP, this was a party that only came into the limelight a couple of months ago, and look at how many votes they got. Of course, we can't say that these guys only came in 3 months ago, or 4 months, or 5 months ago, however many months by now. Oh, tongue twister. Because we know that this is the PF. We know that this is the Patriotic Front party that has returned. President Hakainde Hichilema was in a battle against the people he battled in 2021, and he won. And as you can see, the votes were similar, 1.8, 2.8 in 2021, 1.8, 2.9 in 2026. We could say that the president has an extra 100,000 followers, or let me not say followers, voters, since the last election. So congratulations to him. The country was quite tense, and I can almost say for the first time that we have finally got into a place of identity politics. People are now first identifying with a side before they pick what is right and wrong. So if they identify with the Mutotwe camp, then whatever is done on that camp is right. If they identify on the Hichilema camp, then whatever is done on that camp is right. And the other side is wrong, and vice versa. This is identity politics at its core. Group thinking. There is no individualism attached to that kind of thinking when you are led by what a group of people think. Let us come down to analyzing the just ended election. What do we really think about what happened? What do I think about what happened? Of course, I'd like to hear your comments later on, or as the show goes on. I'd like to see your comments. But there's a couple of interesting things that we must look at or think of. Number one, were we really ready to bring back the PF? Were we really ready? Secondly, do the 1.8 million people honestly believe that the PF was as good as they think it was? I don't know. Were they all benefiting from that regime? That's a question I honestly ask. Not to say that this government of the UPND has been perfect. It has had its flaws, many of them, except we must, what do they say? If you're between the devil and the deep blue sea, or a rock and a hard place, you need to pick at some point. It's about picking the lesser evil, if I can loosely use that term. So do we really think it was a good idea to bring back PF? I don't think it was a good idea to bring back PF. And the evidence showed itself. During the elections, we saw a video of where Mr. Brian Mundubile came out to say that according to their own private voter tabulation, they had determined that they had won the election, right? Excuse me. They had determined that they had won the election, and based on this, they were calling on tighter measures to ensure that the election is not stolen from them. I'm paraphrasing. But as soon as this happened, we saw a reaction on their camp. Now, before I give you my word for it, I would like you to hear what a seasoned politician had to say about this, about the return of PF masked as the NRPUP. Mr. Winter Kabimba gave his remarks on this particular issue. I think he spoke well, and I would like you to listen to it for yourself. Please take a look.
Because Brian Mundibile says, I've nobody to work with apart from Ababe Neba PFR. And when you look at this situation, I can tell you that both Makebi Zulu and Brian Mundibile would have had no capacity to quench that kind of disorder, even if they had won. They have no capacity. Would probably be in a civil war today.
If they had won.
If they had won.
Really?
Yes. Yes. Because
quite a strong
No, but those were the signs. Those were the signs.
Civil war?
Yes. Because nobody would have accepted that PF, which has come back, should go back to its old order.
People would have reacted.
People would have resisted that.
Now, of course, the usage of the term civil war may be a little bit extreme. I don't know whether it would have led to a civil war, but it definitely would have been hard to swallow. Because to see Kadarism come back, to see a certain system come back where people go on Facebook and make a bed of money to sleep on it, to see certain systems come back would have just been absurd, ridiculous. I don't know how the country would have taken it. Of course, I would not say civil war. I think that's a little bit extreme, except I just don't think that would be the best direction for the country. If they proved they would do things differently, which they did not, then maybe we can say, perhaps this is not the PF after all. But it was the same people, same motivations, same language, honoring the same people, right? At some rallies, they would even sing Dunona Reverse because it was the same people coming back. And in case you think Mr. Winter Kavimba is blowing things out of proportion, or you think I am blowing things out of proportion, that we don't know what we're talking about, as soon as that statement from Mr. Brian Mundibile was given out, saying, according to their PVT, he has won, look at what his cadres did. By the way, this is all alleged. Everything we see on the show is for entertainment purposes only. But allegedly, this is what his cadres did. They went into the markets to claim back the markets, to claim back the stations. Why? Because they had a system of making money when they ran these things. And when the UPND government came into power, there's a way that they curbed these things. So you can see that just by a mere announcement on Facebook, there was a reaction. What more if they had actually come into power? So when we talk about the issue of elections, whether you think it was free and fair, whether you think this or that, let us at least thank God that there's a place we're not going back to, a place where JJ Banda can walk into the Central Police to threaten officers right in their place of work. That is not the case, where he can urinate into someone's mouth. Let us not go back to that place where certain people felt above the law. If we must change government, let us change it on merit. Let us change it because better policies are being offered. That is my take. So I think Zambia, we did a great job. We maintained peace and order. We maintained progress. I think it was a good choice. It really was a good choice. Now, moving away from the elections, there are a few other issues. We know that a few unfortunate incidents have occurred both during and after the elections. There have been some things that have been brought to light during the election period. We know that there was some allegations raised by one Brian Mundibile of a raid into his home, which allegations sounded fishy at first, and many people made mockery of him. He said people who he believed to be the army, the military, or at least men in uniform, to use it loosely, got into his home, raided his home in what he termed as an attempt on his life. Do not take it from me, hear it from the horse's mouth.
Last night, heavily armed personnel believed to be members of the Zambia army came to my residence in what I can only describe as an attempt on my life. Shots were fired. My home was invaded. My family was terrorized. Honorable Mutotwe Kafwaya and a few others were shot at in my presence. They sustained serious gunshot wounds. I watched one of my colleagues and fellow Zambians bleed as gunfire erupted around us.
You see that? Those are very serious allegations. And of course, we cannot give you everything that they said. But according to their side of the story, military people came into their home, began to fire shots, broke down the gate, broke down doors, got into their bedrooms, began to shoot at them. They dodged bullets. Some people were shot, some killed, right? We went on to hear days later of a particular honorable, Mr. Honorable Mutotwe Kafwaya, who was said to have been killed, shot twice in the chest. This was something that was coming from Brian Mundubile's side of the story. We know Lilian Mutambo shared this story. JJ Banda shared this story. We have many people that shared this story saying that the honorable had been killed. This was a story according to their side. And one of the things that made it a bit fishy is there was a video that came out where he was saying gunpowder went over my, the bullet left gunpowder on my head or something like that. And that video circulated and people were laughing about it, right? But this was their side of the story. According to their side of the story, it appears the military got into their house, met unarmed people, began shooting, killed some, all in an attempt to take his life. This is what it appeared to be, at least from his side of the story. Let me show you the video where gunpowder was left on his head. Please take a look.
So this is the gunpowder that remained
on a bullet that was went. So if you can send to Emmanuel Mwamba.
Yes, I'm going to send to Emmanuel Mwamba right away.
So just taking this picture. Just see the other one for the jeans.
For mom. Let me just take. Let me just take a picture of. So this is the bullets that hit Honorable Mutotwe Kafwaya and went into.
You see that the thing that was most fishy to many people was how did the bullet go from missing his head to going to the jeans? Was she putting a bulb, perhaps standing on a stool, so her legs were at the same level as his head? There were a lot of things about this video that people seemed to be questioning. Did he have to eat first before going to the hospital? Because we can see a plate of food being brought to him there. How did he have the strength to eat after such an ordeal? Anyway, those were all mockery statements coming from people. But according to their side of the story, they were raided. And this was politically motivated. And this was all in an attempt to take his life, or at least to inflict fear upon him and his camp, so that they are cowered into silence, so that the election is stolen from them, right? This is according to the side of the story. And the most serious of these allegations was that the honorable was killed. Honorable Mutotwe Kafwaya, may he so rest in peace, that he was killed. Now we know that he was killed, but I'm just giving you a backstory, a trail, how it happened, the sequence of events. Shortly after, Mr. Tabukawana goes to, firstly, we're told that Brian Mundibile was taken as well. Whether for questioning, I don't know. But Mr. Kawana went to IBEX police, went live. Is Mr. Brian Mundibile here? No, he's not. You see that? I told you he's not here. Following day, he goes to Mainasoko. And at Mainasoko, this is where now there is a blunder. At Mainasoko, he did not just speak himself. He involved two other credible sources, people who we expect would know if something like that happened. We expect he would know, but there were two other individuals who we expect would know if something like that happened. And he put them on camera and they spoke. Now this is where the challenge is. Please take a look.
We have seen that the Napupu running mate, Makebi Zulu, has posted that Honorable Mutotwe Kafwaya was shot by the army, 2 bullets in the chest, and is now admitted at Mainasoko. We are here at Mainasoko. I am joined by my colleagues, the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Home Affairs, Mr. Machembo is at the far end there. We are also joined by the owner of the facility, the PS for Defense, Mr. Amaundu is here. So Mr. Amaundu, please explain to the people, explain to the Zambians. Is Honorable Kafwaya here? And was Honorable Kafwaya shot by your army?
It's a laughing matter. I think we need to be serious as a people. We need really to move away from fabricating information. I actually came through to Mainasoko upon reading on social media that Honorable Kafwaya was shot and is actually at Mainasoko. And I can confirm to members of the public that that is unfounded. We are at Mainasoko. I've checked the record. I've engaged the management here. At no time in the last 48 hours have they received any patient by the name of Honorable Mutotwe Kafwaya. So it's a total fabrication, and which is really, really unacceptable. And that is why I can confirm really to say there is no patient by the name of Honorable Mutotwe Kafwaya in this facility, unless there's a different Mainasoko, but not at this particular facility.
Do you see that? Not only did he say that the Honorable was not in the hospital, he also said the Honorable was not shot. If he ended at saying he's not in hospital, we would then say perhaps he was in the mortuary, or perhaps he was at a different location. But he didn't end at saying he's not in the hospital. He went on to say he was not shot. Right? He went on to say he was not shot. As if it wasn't enough, he also called them Napup, which, of course, is just something funny. But later on, people began to ask, where is the Honorable? Where is the Honorable? Where is the Honorable? And the family came out appealing, please, we want our husband, we want our father, we want our brother. Appealing to the president, appealing to the army commander, appealing to this one, appealing to that one. Help us. We want to know what is the state of our father, our brother, our son. Where is he? All right? People were searching, where is he? And the wife took a further step in an effort to locate or at least bring back the husband, because she said, if he's in custody, at least tell us. Let us at least know that he's safe. Let us at least have access to him. If he is hurt, let us know where he is. We don't know what to do. Should we mourn? Should we cry? It's a difficult position to be in as a family. It's a horrible place to be. You don't know whether to organize a funeral. You don't know whether to go to the police. You don't know what to do. And appeals were sent out. But she took a step further. She went to court. Former Lunte Member of Parliament, Mutotwe Kafwaya's wife, Denise Ngandu, has asked the Lusaka High Court for leave to commence habeas corpus proceedings over her husband's continued detention. Mrs. Kafwaya says her husband remains in custody and, to the best of her knowledge, has not been brought before a court of competent jurisdiction. She says the matter is urgent and is seeking the court's permission to file a habeas corpus application and accompanying documents during the current Christmas vacation. Mrs. Kafwaya urges that any delay could further prejudice Mr. Kafwaya and undermine the protection of his liberty. So she brings him to a summoning of some sort. He must appear in court by a particular day because she believes he's being detained without a proper hearing. right? I'm paraphrasing in simple terms. He's being detained without a proper hearing. He's not being given the opportunity to at least go to court if he's done something wrong. So let him come to court, because he cannot be in detention for a prolonged period of time without any charges. We, his family, don't know what's going on. Lo and behold, an admission came forth. Lo and behold, an admission came forth. Mutotwe Kafwaya was shot dead. Police confirm. Lo and behold. Indeed, she brought him out. But this is the challenge. Did it have to get to that? I mean, she's working based on the information she's been given that no, he's not in hospital, neither has he been shot. So her assumption is he's detained then. Otherwise, why is he not home? If then he is detained, there must be a reason for his detention. Let us go to the court so that the court can call him. Let us hear why he's detained. Let him have his hearing. And then a confirmation came that actually he was shot dead. And the government was sorry, obviously. The Inspector General confirmed this. Inspector General of Police Grafel Musamba has confirmed. Inspector General of Police Grafel Musamba has confirmed that Tonse Alliance member Mutotwe Kafwaya was shot dead during a joint intelligence-led operation in Lusaka's Kablonga area on Friday last week, the day after the general election was held. The confirmation comes 5 days after questions emerged on social media over Kafwaya's whereabouts, with his wife publicly appealing to authorities to disclose his location. In a lengthy statement, Musamba explained that the incident happened during an operation conducted by a joint task force comprised of members of the Central Joint Operations Committee, including the Drug Enforcement Commission. The police boss further disclosed that the operation was conducted around 1930 hours at a named premises in Kablonga following intelligence gathered after the recovery of 7.3 million kwacha in a second task force operation in Lusaka. He said the intelligence concerned activities by individuals to be of national interest and suspected of posing a threat to national security. Okay, so if I didn't mention, I must state that we were made to believe that this raid never happened. We were actually made to believe that there was no such thing that happened. Not only were we made to believe that Mr. Mutotwe Kafwaya was not in hospital, which he probably wasn't. Perhaps he wasn't. Perhaps he had already died by then. We were also made to believe that he wasn't shot. Now we know he was shot. Then we were made to believe that there wasn't a raid. Right? There wasn't a raid. But now we know there is a raid. For example, we received messages. I received a message too from the government of the Republic of Zambia telling us not to believe false stories of shootings. What was the plan? What were you eventually going to say to the people? What was the plan? What exactly was the plan? Were you hoping he recovers? I don't know. What was the plan? That still beats me, but we're going somewhere. Government regrets Kafwaya's death. The government has expressed regret over the death of former Works and Transport Minister Mutotwe Kafwaya, who was shot dead last Friday during a joint-led operation at the opposition leader Brian Mundubile's residence in Kablonga. So we now know that the raid actually did happen at Brian Mundubile's home, as he had earlier said. So Brian Mundubile was right after all. Maybe he wasn't right about all the details. We're going somewhere. But he was right about one thing. The raid did happen at his home. So now we have two sides, both confirming a raid happened. One side said it. They were not entirely believed. The other side denied it. Then the other side confirms it. Now both sides have confirmed it. But now there's the issue. Okay, there are two issues here. There's the issue of the confirmation of the raid. Did the raid happen? Yes. Did the shooting happen? Yes. Did the death happen? Yes. This has been established, both parties. However, why did the raid happen? Why did the raid happen is now the issue that both sides are giving different stories for. According to Brian Mundubile's side, the raid happened for no reason but to kill him. So we have established, did the raid happen? Yes, it happened. Did the shooting happen? Yes, it happened. Did the dying happen? Yes, it happened. We know one party was lying at first, but now they are telling us it happened. They are now apologizing. But then let us establish the reason for the raid. And does it justify, do the means justify the ends in this case? You know, back in high school or primary school or whatever school level, when you're given a mathematical equation to solve, you can't just go and put the answer there. Show you're working. How did you arrive at x equals 6? How exactly did we establish that x is 6? You need to show you're working. Part of the 12 marks for the question is the working. If you give the answer only, you get 2 marks. Are you getting my point? So then we need to establish what is the reason for the raid, because both parties have now admitted that a raid actually happened. So now what is the reason for the raid if the raid actually happened? Oh, I feel like I'm preaching here. Right. Why did the raid happen? So the government went on to produce a video which both explained the details of the operation, the reason for the operation, and added a condolences message. Please take a look.
When the peace and safety of our nation are threatened, our security wings have a constitutional duty to protect us. What happened in Lusaka was not just a routine police investigation. It was a decisive move to stop a dangerous threat and safeguard 21 million Zambians. Our defense and security wings had been tracking suspicious networks and non-civilian movements since late 2023. For months, our intelligence agencies watched these activities quietly in the background, building a complete picture of Zambian citizens receiving specialized military training overseas. The big breakthrough came on August 1st, 2026, when a joint security operation at Kenneth Kaunda International Airport intercepted key individuals carrying specialized documents and proof of tactical training abroad. This was not an ordinary airport check. It confirmed that an active pipeline of trained fighters was heading straight to our doorstep. This intelligence was further confirmed when another task force recovered 7.3 million kwacha in cash right here in Lusaka. The evidence from that cash seizure, combined with what was uncovered at Kenneth Kaunda International Airport, led investigators straight to a private house in Kabulonga, moving our security wings from watching in the background to taking immediate action. On the night of August 14th, 2026, the Joint Task Force carried out an intelligence-led operation at the Kabulonga residence. Officers identified themselves according to strict protocol. Instead of compliance, security forces were met with direct gunfire at 1945. Forces returned fire in self-defense, subduing the premises. Securing the location was paramount to preventing further escalation. The premises were subdued under strict defensive protocol. The weapons and equipment recovered at the scene showed clearly what was being planned. Security forces seized high-powered assault rifles, automatic submachine guns, live ammunition, and night vision combat gear. Make no mistake, these are not personal protection guns or civilian weapons. These are weapons of war, the kind used in dangerous paramilitary operations. We must pause to acknowledge the human tragedy of this operation. Honorable Mutotwe Kafwaya, a former cabinet minister, member of parliament, a father, and a son, was fatally wounded during the exchange.
Now, of course, I didn't play you the full video. That was an excerpt of the full video. You can find the video on various platforms. ZNBC, Kalemba, you can find it various platforms. Nevertheless, the government has now given us their side of the story. That actually, even in the confirmation, I read it earlier, but now they've given an official explanation. Actually, there was a raid. It was a joint operation. There was a national security threat. There was an establishment of facts backed by evidence that there were people that were sent out for some form of training. Right? And we'll get to the other side's explanation, to what the other side said. There was a couple of details that came to our attention that made us believe that there was a national security issue. There were some plans being concocted at these locations, and we had to step in to protect. But when we stepped in, instead of compliance, we were met with resistance, gunshots. And so we, the officers or the men in uniform, were forced to retaliate. And in the process, the Honorable was fatally wounded, shot dead. We now have an explanation from the government side. We are being told that the raid happened, but it happened because these people were planning something, some kind of a militia or something like that. And we found military-grade weapons of war. These are not for personal protection. Not only did we find that, we found millions of dollars in a separate location. Not only that, we found trained personnel. And before that, we apprehended some personnel at the airport. I wish this story of military training only came from the government side. I wish this story of these military trained people being taken at the airport only came from the government side. I wish it ended there. If it ended there, then we'd say, look now. But no. Prior to the government telling us this, the Mundubile side had already told us. Because on their camp, they have one Binwo Mpundu. Now, there were certain things that Binwo Mpundu himself said that coherently made a consistent thought, that began to project a certain consistent thought. You begin to think, what is he talking about when you piece 1 and 2 together? For starters, this is what he said.
I am my elections, there's a lot at stake for some of us. Our lives are at stake. Not to be kapwe because my elections, we are ready to die and we are ready to kill. Just in case we've been beating about this push or we've not made it very clear. For this election, people like Mine Binwo Mpundu, I am ready to be killed. I'm also ready to kill.
So why would he say that? From nowhere. It is not like anyone came out issuing a video saying we want Binwo Mpundu or anyone from the NRPUP to die, Don't Say Alliance to die. No. At least not to my knowledge. If you know anything like that, please leave it in the comments. But no one came out saying such a thing. Binwo Mpundu, unprovoked, came out to tell us that they are ready to kill and be killed. Do you see the thought that's been established there? Of course, they asked Brian Mundubile about this. Because I know, maybe I'm judging him too quickly. It could have been AI. As a matter of fact, Brian Mundubile believed it was AI. Please take a look.
The information that we saw on social media and purported to be coming from Binwo Mpundu was very strange right from the beginning, because Comrade Binwo Mpundu, like all the other members, know the position that we take when it comes to the peaceful conduct of the electoral process. We are happy to know that he's gone back on social media. Apparently that was a fake. That was AI, if you want to call it that. He could not possibly speak like that. Even when we saw it, we knew that he could not represent the president's office and communicate a message of that sort. When we have continuously condemned violence, unlike our friends in the other political parties.
You see that? He believed it was AI. He said Bino Mpundo, he definitely can't speak that way. Because even he is shocked. Been well. Why would you say that? I wish it ended there. Perhaps we would have a divided crowd. Some thinking it indeed was AI, and some thinking maybe he said it. But Binwa Mpundo doubled down.
So when this video was made yesterday, my media team posted, but I think that after the backlash, my media team decided to, do more or less a cover to say this was AI. Now I want to be very clear. The video yesterday was not AI, and I'm very disappointed with my media team. But I sympathize with them because they were not able to reach me when they should have consulted me. Consequently, they've been able to mislead my president, who actually also suggested, because of the feedback he got from the media team, that it was AI. The truth is, this is a statement I made.
Of course, that's not the full video. He went on to explain the context of his words, but he's admitting, I made those statements. Why would Binwa Mpundo not only make those statements, but admit to making them? Are you seeing that? There's a consistent thought there being established. Now, here are more revelations from Binwa Mpundo that are giving the government ideas. Not only is the government being fed with ideas, we are also being fed with ideas. Please take a look.
And so we sent individuals into Russia to be trained in physical protection. Interestingly, you need to know, VVIP protection, physical protection, you can't just send every Jim and Jack to go and protect your incoming president. And that is why a decision was made that individuals are selected and sent to go and receive this important training. This was an open issue. There was no secrecy around it. They left through our international airport. They were returning through the international airport. As we speak now, these individuals are missing. In short, they have been abducted.
Now, I must make mention, whether this was not done in secrecy, it was an open issue, and they left and came back through the airport, I must make it known to you that it's a crime. At least from my interpretation of the law, it is a crime. I'll read it to you. Article 196 of the Constitution tells us, except as provided in this Constitution, a person shall not raise or participate in the raising of an armed force, establish or participate in the establishment of a defense force or national security service, establish or participate in the establishment of a unit of defense force, or national security service. Mr. Mpundo, we have a secret service. We have people that actually do protect the president in Zambia. Nevertheless, he's not president yet, at least. Even if he was going to be, he's not yet president. Why the rush to send people outside to train? Even if you send 2-3 people to train, it's a crime. The Penal Code also states it. I believe punishable by 7 years. It's a crime. If anything, it's a crime. You can't send people out for military training. That is a crime. Before we go anywhere, it's a crime. It is not allowed. The Constitution, the Penal Code forbids it. It's a crime. To do that is a crime. You're already committing a crime by saying it, and you're admitting to a crime in front of the whole nation. It's a crime. It really is a crime. You understand? Now, aside it being a crime, there is an admittance there that people indeed were sent out for military training. Not only were they sent out for military training, there is also another admission that indeed they were apprehended at the airport. You see the video that the government showed us. So now, at least 50% of that video has been established. It's true. Okay? The video told us there was a raid. True. The video told us Mr. Mutotwe Kafwaya was shot. True. The video also told us that there was an apprehension of people at the airport. True. The video told us some people were taken for military training. True. Now we don't know. What we don't know from that video that the government showed us, whether it's true, is whether they were met with gunshot resistance and they simply retaliated. But these are the facts we're working with. So now, why are we going to take one side of the story and believe it fully and not take the other? Or why are we going to take the other and believe it fully? Because both sides are now telling us lies. Because according to Mundubile's side, we were innocent. They just came in and shot. No, you were not. You sent people out for training. What did you think the government would think? At the very least, it's a crime. Now we can argue why the timing of the raid, we can argue all those things. By the way, I'm not saying it was right. I'm not saying anyone needed to die. All I am establishing is that when making a judgment on this issue, let us look at both sides of the story. It is not wise to take one side over the other. It is wise, if you don't have the full information from both sides, then maybe don't pick a side. Wish your condolences, but don't pick a side. Because clearly, both sides are not telling us something. Clearly, both sides are not telling us something. But one thing is also certain. The President of the Republic of Zambia was fully aware of all that was going on. Their plans, their regroupings, whatever is going on, the sending of people out for training, all this, he was watching and he was aware. Here's what he said. This was way before the elections. Here's what he said.
I'm the chief Shushushu. I know what is happening. My friend, you can't send people to a foreign country to go and learn military skills to come and disrupt elections in this country. And they expect not to be arrested for that. You will be arrested. You commit crimes, you're on your own. Why would you send people to go and train somewhere to come and plan to kill? An opposition leader says he's prepared to kill, to be killed. Nobody wants to kill him. Now he's prepared to kill. Since there's nobody who wants to kill him, so he's willing to kill. Who is he going to kill? Fellow citizens. For what? It's competition to serve. My colleagues were in government 10 years. They did not introduce free education. Now they're saying they'll bring it. Why didn't they bring it when they were in government 10 years? They are promising, no, CDF. Why didn't they bring CDF from 1.6 million, which is only enough to build a 1x3 classroom block, to 40 million? Why didn't they do it? Why? Grevazio. If you as a citizen are supporting them, I'm just pointing you here because we're in an interview. You must reflect. What benefit did you get? 10 years. A few people were sleeping with cash as mattresses and pillows.
You see what the president is saying there? For starters, it's a crime. And you're admitting to it. So if you do that, you are going to be arrested. Whether it happens before elections, during or after, the issue is there will be an arresting somewhere. Now, we also know that when men in uniform are going to arrest someone for something, let us not forget that Mr. Hichilema himself was once picked from his home. People came armed in the previous regime when he was accused of treason. They came armed. What if they were met with resistance? What would have happened on that day? So let us not forget that when men in uniform are holding a gun, we see this every day, even in the United States, we see videos. A guy is stopped on the road, he pulls out a gun, he's shot, and the police are then blamed. Ladies and gentlemen, men in uniform cannot be met with resistance. They will also act in self-defense. Let us also not forget that Binwa Mpundu told us that they would do anything and everything it takes. Let's take a look.
These very outrageous, suggestions, including from our former vice president, Mr. Mumba, that we are using Ichitumbi to campaign. I want to tell you this on camera. We, on the opposition, we the Tonse PF Pamosi Alliance, we are going to use anything and everything to kick these incompetent UPN.
Anything and everything.
Anything and everything.
Including Ichitumbi.
Including Ichitumbi.
So whether they were going to use the body for political gain, or they were going to do this or do that, kill or be killed, Binwa Mpundu at least assured us that they were willing to do anything. So let us not forget that. Now, I will leave you to interpret what I've said for yourself. Determine who you think was telling the truth, who was lying, what they were lying about, what they were telling the truth about. But these are the facts of the matter. Ladies and gentlemen, election season is over. Let us move on with our lives. God has been gracious to us as a country. to give us people that are actually willing to see us develop economically. God bless you all, and I'll see you on the next one.
Don't you stop following me. Aro. Uzaningene sama problems, eh? Uzaningene sama problems. Ninavambiri vokanyiza pano wafe. Ninavambiri vokanyiza. Leka kunikonka, nakuza teleka kunikonka. Nisi sumvera.
Okay.
Sumvera.
Anaenda. Naenda nareka.
Nifunza ufuna nikamishtundu.
Okay, naenda. Sorry sir.
What do you want to ask?
Hey, like what you see? I know you do. Hit the button below to subscribe and don't forget to hit the notification bell. Ciao.